Marcus Chen's hands trembled as he signed the $3 million contract. The agency had finally found her, the perfect fake wife. Beautiful, sophisticated, and willing to play the part for exactly 2 years. His board would be satisfied, his expansion would be approved, everything would go according to plan. But plans have a way of falling apart, because 3 hours before he was supposed to meet his hired bride at the lawyer's office, Marcus ducked into a tiny bookshop cafe to escape the rain. And there she was, an ordinary girl with a coffee-stained cardigan and a smile that didn't cost a thing. Her name was Lily, and when she laughed at his terrible joke about the weather, something inside his chest cracked open. He stayed for one coffee, then another, then he forgot about the meeting entirely. 2 days later, he married her. Not the woman he'd paid millions to find, but the one who made him forget why he'd been searching in the first place. Now, here's my question for you. Have you ever made a decision that looked completely crazy to everyone else, but felt absolutely right to you? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear your stories. 3 weeks earlier, the conference room on the 47th floor smelled like leather and ambition. Marcus Chen sat at the head of the table while his 5 board members stared at him with identical expressions of disapproval. "Marcus," Richard Tao spoke with the weight of tradition, "your grandfather built this company on values, integrity, stability, family. How can we trust you to lead our expansion into traditional Asian markets when you show no commitment to these values?" Marcus kept his face neutral. "My personal life has nothing to do with my ability to—" "Everything to do with it," interrupted Margaret Liu. "Our partners in Singapore, Tokyo, Hong Kong, they care about these things. A 35-year-old bachelor CEO sends a message, uncommitted, unstable, temporary. Get married," Richard said simply. "Show stability, then we'll approve your expansion." He slid a folder across the table. "You have 6 months." 1 week later, Marcus sat in Victoria Marsh's pristine office discussing the purchase of a wife like she was a corporate acquisition. $3 million, Victoria said. Legal marriage, public appearances, complete discretion. 2 years, then a quiet divorce. We've found the perfect candidate, Isabelle Laurent, former model, MBA from Stanford, fluent in 5 languages. Marcus stared at the contract. His entire life had become a series of contracts. Why should this be different? He signed. Friday morning, 3 hours before meeting Isabel, Marcus couldn't breathe. His office felt too small, too controlled. He grabbed his jacket and walked out, ignoring his assistant's protests. The rain grew heavier. Marcus ducked under a faded green awning. "The Corner Story," read the hand-painted sign on a tiny bookshop cafe. Inside, a girl sat behind the counter reading a worn paperback. She had a coffee stain on her cardigan and wild, dark hair escaping from a messy bun. The bell chimed. She looked up and smiled. Genuine, unplanned, reaching her eyes. "Refuge from the storm?" she asked. "Something like that," Marcus said. "I'm Lily. Fair warning, the coffee here is terrible, but it's hot and cheap. Want some?" Marcus didn't know why he stayed, dripping on her floor, when he had a meeting that would determine the next 2 years of his life. Maybe that was exactly why. Marcus didn't know why he told her. Maybe it was her honest smile or terrible coffee. Maybe because in 2 hours he'd be shaking hands with a woman he was paying to pretend to love him. "I'm supposed to get married today," he said. Lily's eyebrows shot up. "Congratulations! You don't look very happy about it." "It's not real. It's a business arrangement. My board won't approve my expansion unless I'm married, so I hired someone. We sign papers, play the part for 2 years, then divorce quietly." The silence wasn't judgmental, just thoughtful. "That's the saddest thing I've heard all week," Lily said finally, "and I just finished reading The Road, so that's saying something." Marcus laughed. A real laugh. It's practical. It's heartbreaking. You're going to spend 2 years pretending to love someone? She leaned forward. Marriage isn't business. It's sharing your last cup of coffee. It's knowing someone's terrible jokes and laughing anyway. It's being seen, really seen, and not running away. It's supposed to mean something. Her passion made something crack open in his chest. "When's the last time you did something that meant something?" Lily asked quietly. The question hit like a physical blow. When had his life become nothing but strategies and contracts? "I don't remember," Marcus admitted. Lily's phone buzzed. She winced. "My lunch break ended 10 minutes ago." She hesitated, then grabbed a napkin and scribbled on it. "That's my number. If you ever want terrible coffee with someone who'll tell you the truth, call me." She pressed it into his hand, her fingers warm. "Or if you decide to do something completely crazy instead of completely practical, I'd love to hear about it." Then she disappeared, leaving Marcus with cold coffee and a napkin that suddenly felt more valuable than any contract. Marcus sat outside Victoria's office. Through the glass doors, Isabelle Laurent waited. Perfect, poised, everything he'd paid for. His phone buzzed. "David, Miss Laurent is waiting." Marcus looked at the napkin, at Lily's messy, honest handwriting. Life's too short to spend it pretending. He made a decision that would horrify his board. He called Lily. "Corner story, Lily speaking." "Don't marry her. That's what you told me." "Right. Did you marry her?" "No. I'm sitting outside where I'm supposed to meet her, and I can't go inside." "Good. That's really good. Have dinner with me tonight. Not business, not a transaction, just dinner with someone real." Silence stretched. Then, "Okay, but you're buying, and nowhere that requires me to know which fork to use." Marcus laughed. "Deal. 7 o'clock? Meet me at the shop at 6. He sent one text to Victoria. "I've changed my mind. Cancel everything." For the first time in 12 years, Marcus had no plan. It felt like freedom. What do you think happens when someone chooses their heart over their head? Drop a comment below and let me know if you've ever taken a leap of faith like Marcus. And don't forget to like and subscribe. This story is just getting started. Marcus arrived at the corner story at 5:45 p.m., 15 minutes early, like he was afraid she'd disappear if he was late. Through the window, he watched Lily shelving books, standing on tiptoe to reach the top shelf, her tongue poking out in concentration. She looked up, saw him, and her face broke into that crooked smile that made his chest tight. "You actually came," she said, opening the door. "You sound surprised." "I gave my number to a guy who was about to marry someone for money. I wasn't sure you'd choose dinner with a bookshop girl over a multi-million-dollar contract." She grabbed her coat, a thrift store find with mismatched buttons. "So where are we going? Some 5-star place where they serve foam on tiny plates?" "Actually," Marcus said, "I was hoping you'd choose." Lily stared at him. "You're serious?" "I've been making calculated decisions my entire life. Tonight, I want to do something unplanned." Her smile could have lit the entire street. "Okay then, follow me." She took him to a hole-in-the-wall dumpling restaurant where the menus were handwritten and the owner shouted orders in Mandarin. They sat at a wobbly table, their knees bumping underneath, and Lily ordered for both of them without asking. "So," she said, dumpling halfway to her mouth, "tell me about Marcus Chen when he's not being a CEO." No one had ever asked him that. People wanted to know about his company, his strategy, his net worth, never just him. "I don't know anymore," he admitted. "I've been the CEO for so long I forgot there was anyone else underneath." "That's sad." Lily reached across the table and squeezed his hand. "Want to know what I think? I think he's still in there, just buried under a lot of expensive suits and bad decisions." Marcus looked at their hands, hers small and ink-stained from pricing books, his bearing the faint tan line from a watch that cost more than her yearly rent. Why did you say yes to dinner? You don't know me. I could be anyone. But you're not just anyone. Lily's eyes held his. You're someone who walked away from $3 million because a stranger told you marriage should mean something. That's either really brave or really stupid, and I wanted to find out which. And? Still deciding. They talked until the restaurant closed, the owner gently shooing them out with a smile. Marcus learned that Lily had inherited the bookshop from her grandmother, that she read 3 books a week, that she believed in handwritten letters and second chances. And with every word, every laugh, every moment, Marcus felt himself falling. On the sidewalk outside, Lily turned to him. I have a confession. I Googled you after you left the shop. Marcus's stomach dropped. And you're kind of a big deal. Marcus Chen, CEO of Chen Industries, worth about $500 million. She paused. Why didn't you tell me? Because for the first time in years, someone was talking to me like I was just a person, not a net worth, not a business opportunity, just me. I didn't want that to end. Lily studied his face in the streetlight. Is this real, or am I just the convenient alternative to your fake wife? The question cut deep because it was fair. Marcus stepped closer. I don't know what this is yet. All I know is that I've spent 12 years making safe, practical decisions, and every single one of them left me emptier than the last. Then I met you, and for the first time I felt something real. Real is messy, Lily whispered. I'm starting to like messy. The next morning, Marcus's phone exploded with messages. Victoria had called an emergency board meeting. His decision to walk away from the arrangement had consequences. The conference room felt different now, smaller, colder. Richard Tao's face was granite. You walked away from a perfect solution, Richard said. We gave you 6 months, Marcus. You have 5 left. What's your plan? Marcus thought about Lily's crooked smile, her terrible coffee, the way she'd held his hand across a wobbly table. I'm going to get married, he said quietly. Margaret Liu's eyes sharpened. To whom? You terminated the arrangement with... To someone real. Marcus stood, his decision crystallizing with each word. You wanted me married? Fine, but it's going to be on my terms, to someone I choose, someone who matters. In 5 months, Richard laughed. Marcus, be reasonable. You barely date. You work 80 hours a week. Who could you possibly... I met someone. The room went silent. You met someone, Margaret repeated slowly. When? You've been focused on this expansion for months. Yesterday. Marcus grabbed his jacket. And before you tell me I'm insane, I know. I know it's fast, I know it's reckless, but you wanted commitment, stability, you're about to get it. He walked out before they could respond, his heart hammering against his ribs. Lily was shelving books when he burst through the door of the corner store, slightly out of breath, his tie crooked for the first time in his professional life. Marry me, Marcus said. Lily dropped the book she was holding. It hit the floor with a thud that echoed through the small shop. I'm sorry, what? Marry me, not in 2 years, not for show, now, for real. Marcus crossed to her, his hand shaking. I know we just met. I know this is insane. I know I should have a plan, a strategy, a reasonable timeline. But Lily, I've spent my entire life being reasonable, and reasonable was killing me. Marcus, I know yesterday you asked when was the last time you did something that meant something. The answer is now. This. You. He took her hands. I don't need 6 months to know that every conversation with you feels more real than anything I've experienced in 12 years. I don't need a strategy to know that you make me want to be someone besides a CEO. I just need to know, is this crazy to you too, or just to me? Lily's eyes were wide, her breath shallow. This is absolutely crazy. Is that a no? That's a give me a second because a billionaire just proposed in my bookshop and I'm trying to remember how to form sentences. She laughed, a slightly hysterical sound. "Marcus, we've known each other for 24 hours. I know. You're proposing marriage. I know. Real marriage, not a contract, not an arrangement. Real marriage," Marcus confirmed. "Messy, unplanned, terrifying, real marriage." Lily pulled her hands free and stepped back. For a horrible moment, Marcus thought he'd destroyed everything. Then she turned to the door, flipped the sign to "closed," and faced him again. "Okay," she said. "Okay? Okay, I'll marry you, but on one condition. Anything. Promise me that 10 years from now, when people ask how we met, you'll tell them the truth, that you walked away from $3 million for terrible coffee and a girl who believed marriage should mean something." Marcus pulled her into his arms. "I promise." "Then yes, I'll marry you, Marcus Chen." He kissed her there, surrounded by books that smelled like someone had loved them, in a shop that served the worst coffee in the city, and it was the best decision he'd ever made. They got married 3 days later at City Hall. No photographers, no press release, no elaborate ceremony. Just Marcus in a simple suit, Lily in a white dress she'd found at a vintage shop, and David as their witness, looking equal parts shocked and delighted. "I now pronounce you husband and wife," the officiant said. Marcus kissed his wife, his real wife, and felt something he hadn't felt in years. Complete. The board meeting the following Monday was chaos. 3 days? Richard Tao's face had gone purple. "You married someone you'd known for 3 days?" "4, technically," Marcus corrected. "And yes. This is insane, reckless, completely real," Marcus interrupted. "It's real, which is what you asked for, isn't it? Marriage, commitment, stability. You wanted me to show I could build something lasting. Well, I'm building it, not with contracts or arrangements, but with someone I actually love." Margaret Liu leaned back in her chair, studying him with sharp eyes. "And what happens when this whirlwind romance crashes and burns, when you realize you married a stranger?" "Then I'll have failed at something that mattered," Marcus said simply, "which is better than succeeding at something that didn't." He placed a folder on the table, pictures from the wedding, a copy of the marriage certificate, a statement prepared for the press. "My wife's name is Lily Chen. She owns a bookshop. She makes terrible coffee and reads 3 books a week and believes that marriage should mean something. She's not a strategic partnership or a calculated move. She's the person who reminded me why any of this matters." Marcus looked at each board member. "So here's my counteroffer. Approve the expansion or I walk. Not just from the expansion, from the company, because I finally found something more valuable than Chen Industries." The room was silent. Then Richard Tao did something unexpected. He smiled. "Your grandfather would have done the same thing," he said quietly. "He married your grandmother after knowing her for a week, drove his father absolutely crazy." Richard stood and extended his hand. "Welcome to the family business, Mrs. Chen. And Marcus, the expansion is approved." 6 months later, the corner store had a new sign, Chen and Chen Books, still serving the city's worst coffee. Marcus had moved his office to the apartment above the shop. He still ran Chen Industries, still closed deals and managed expansions, but now he came home to Lily's laughter, to Sunday mornings reading in mismatched chairs, to a life that was messy and unplanned and absolutely perfect. "Any regrets?" Lily asked one evening, curled up beside him with a worn paperback. Marcus thought about the $3 million he didn't spend, the fake wife he didn't marry, the empty life he didn't live. "Not a single one," he said, kissing the top of her head. "Even about the coffee? I know you hate it." "Especially about the coffee." Because the truth was, he spent $3 million searching for someone to pretend to love him, only to find that the person who made him feel truly loved had cost him nothing but his fear. And that was worth everything. So here's my final question for you. What would you be willing to walk away from for the chance at something real? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. And if this story touched your heart, hit that like button and subscribe because we've got more emotional journeys coming your way. Remember, sometimes the best things in life aren't the ones we plan for. They're the ones that find us when we're brave enough to let them in. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next story.